Good morning. Good morning, friends. Thanks for joining us here for Journey Home Meditation's morning sit. This morning we'll do a little shared breathing together, have some contemplation, and I've got a poem today to share with everyone. I'm just happy to be here. So let's start off with just a few breaths today. Just allowing our bodies to settle in. And as our bodies settle, we'll start to get small signals of things that are arising. Even I've been sitting on this mat, on this pillow for quite a while this morning, just reading poems and drinking tea and um, letting my mind sort of play with the ideas. And even still, even now, just taking a few moments to breathe, I can feel shifts and things rising in my body. So bringing our attention, our conscious awareness, and our love and even devotion to listening right now. That's the path inward that we're looking for. Let's have 3 breaths together with the bell. We'll be breathing in through our nose into the bottom of the belly. That's what it means to take a deep breath. Oftentimes, when we hear take a deep breath, we gulp at the world as if we're trying to swallow as much of everything as we can. But really, what we need when we're needing a deep breath is most often not to bring everything in, but to go deeper into that body, to root ourselves and ground ourselves, center ourselves to the earth, and then to release. So instead of gasping at the world, let's take a deep breath, going deeper into our body, breathing all the way down. See if you can breathe all the way down into the root of your body, right? That place right at the bottom of your spine. We'll take 3 breaths together with the bell. And breathing in. And release. And breathing in. And release. And in. noticing this morning in myself the tendency to continue bringing my gaze downward. I keep looking down. Normally, I wouldn't think much of that. I wouldn't even notice it. But I have a curiosity about it. This curiosity about not so much where I'm bringing my gaze towards, but what I'm averting it from. Maybe it's a disappointment that I'm worried about seeing in front of me. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm averting my gaze. So I'm curious in my breath this morning what that could be about. It could also just be this desire to shut down just a little bit. Sometimes my energy needs to go inward and recharge that way. But whatever it is, being able to recognize it can do a few things. One, it can make me really self-conscious about it. That's the go-to. Why are you doing this wrong? And that's just simple training, a lifetime of practice of believing that I'm doing this wrong. But then the other opening from the curiosity is, what is it that I am looking for? If I'm looking away, what am I looking for? Am I looking for safety? Am I looking for the hidden comfort of not being seen? It's like when you're a child and you're in bed and maybe something scary's happening. Maybe somebody's yelling in the background, or maybe you just hear the sounds of the house moving, and all of a sudden it's every monster you can imagine. So you hide your eyes as much as you can under the blankets. I don't know. And I don't even know why it's worth exploring this much, but I guess I'm exploring this as a question. Yeah. What is this? I sat to write a little bit of a morning poem this morning, and even that was confused and just not quite hitting the mark. Like I just not quite there. And so I turned to books, and I was just gifted a stack of these old copies of Poetry Magazine by my friend Andrea. She gave me a whole bag of them to bring into my classes and to just utilize. I love this magazine. I've been a subscriber for a little bit now, but she brought me some older ones. So I turned to it and I found this poem this morning. And it kind of felt like where I'm at today. And it's a strange feeling to be where I'm at because it carries with it feelings of embarrassment or guilt. Like, why are you still here? Why are you doing this again? But there's something here for me. So I'm going to be curious. But I'm just going to go right into this poem. The poet is Tim Seibles. I'm probably mispronouncing that. It's Seibles, Tim Seibles. And it's from a collection of longer form poems that this poet has called "Something Like We Did." And this is part 4, "Something Like We Did 4." And it begins with a quote from Sun Ra. "Space is the place." Sun Ra. "Wind in the leaves of the live oak next door, and the June bugs click, click, hard bodies hitting the screen. Couldn't tell how much time had passed, light from traffic on the ceiling, late, that sound in the sky, soft. Thinking out loud, then inside my head, they were still there, the way they walked, that bright flicker in their chests. Sometimes I have believed I don't belong here. I mean, it's not just the American insanities, but everywhere. The sense of having been left on Earth with no explanation. A mouse dropped in a maze." I think I like how that poem felt. It felt like it can somehow, somewhat gracefully capture that feeling of uh, the mundane that we can be in sometimes. I can be in that space, where it just seems like there's moments where I'm like, what is this really? Like, what? I know that the identities that I acquire and foster and nurture, I know that they're just like flowers in a garden. I understand this about myself. I can see that. And I like that. I used to not understand. I used to take it very personally that my identities were who I am. And it's not. It's not. Uh, it's just decorations on the vehicle, really. It's like we cover ourselves in bumper stickers. Our haircuts, our clothing, um, the way we present, how we introduce ourselves, all of these things. When we can get to a place, when I got to a place to understand that this was the ways that we can explore these parts of ourselves in new ways. Like it's like putting a really good headlamp on and going into the cave. Like you can see all these different aspects, and that's kind of what identities are for me. Is like Even this practice, sitting on this pillow, being in this beautiful room, there's levels to this that are part of the show. It doesn't make it not real. It's real. But when I can recognize it's part of the show, I can play with it and I can relax into it and I can stretch into these moments. But then there's those times when you step back and you go, wow, I'm just watching the light on the ceiling from the passing traffic. Even right now, I can see it dancing on the walls. And then you wonder, a mouse in a maze. I don't think it has to sound so glum. I think there's a level to it that maybe it's just a passing thought. That's all. Not to be contemplated or given too much weight to bear. It's just a thought. And I guess that's what it comes down to, is honing that skill of just having thoughts that can come and go. If we start taking any of it to be more permanent than we know it to be, we suffer. Because then we have expectations, oh, it's supposed to be like this. Why isn't it like this? It's supposed to be like this. And that's when we start getting stuck in this belief that things can be a way. But the only thing that things can be is going away. That's it. Everything we see, everything we know is going away. And in the going away, it's transforming and becoming. Every bit of sand on the beach was the mountain. And each of those grains of sand will never reunite as that mountain again, because that can't be what they are anymore. They're transforming. This is a new identity. And then we get transformed into glass, or the river becomes the sea, becomes the cloud, becomes the rain, becomes the river, becomes the sea, becomes the cloud, becomes the rain. Like, we are always returning to this thing of impermanence. So even the mouse in the maze, right? It's just a thought. It's just a thought. You're one thought away. That's what Ram Dass would teach. You're always one thought away from here. You're always one thought away from now. To forget everything I said. One thought away. Let's breathe in through our nose to the bottom of the bellies and hold our bodies in balance so that we can sit and find stillness in the movement. We are not sitting still because we are paralyzed, or we're not holding ourselves into place. We are seeking that kind of stillness that opens us to possibility. Just a moment of adoration. Stepping back from being the mouse in the maze to witnessing the mouse in the maze. And that's a shift. Maybe we're not the mouse in the maze. Maybe we're the cheese at the end. These little chunks of cheese walking around, waiting to be discovered in the labyrinth. I don't know. It's just a thought. When I get to having these thoughts, it can generate feelings of um, distance or isolation. And that's why I chose that poem, because I didn't write that one, but I feel that one. So I'm not isolated. Poems can do that. But I recall writing my morning poem this morning and just not liking it. Just being like, oh, this is crap. And you got to remember, though, like you're not the arrow hitting the mark. It's not your job. So it's not a failure when you miss that mark. It's not what you're doing. You're just this animal moving through this place. And you feel all these things, and sometimes you just got to sing a different song. I don't know that I've ever sat in the morning and listened to the birds sing and then heard one complain about messing up their song. Maybe I'm just not hearing it, but I think it's okay. I think it's okay when we have these days where we just don't feel like we're in the right body. Because it's not yours anyway. You're just borrowing it. And it's just made of all the other stuff. It's kind of, we're cobbling it together of all the stuff we can grab, packing it on, and it's going away. That's pretty good. We're doing pretty good. Curious if there's any conversation we can have this morning. get me out of this spiral.
I'm having a lot of feeling like it's been a really full session of like things to contemplate. And I'm also wondering if it's like, better, like, I'm just have a constant like contradiction thing going on in my head a lot of the time. I mean, like you're saying, they're just thoughts and I can like let these responses go, or maybe like, but it's also nice to like give myself the grace to like be human and have the responses of the flowers of response. I don't know. I feel I don't like maybe like there's a little paranoid even with the like gazing down that you were like calling me out a little bit because I do that so often. Since I was very young, I like avoid eye contact a lot. Not as much these days, but I just want other people to feel comfortable. And there's a whole thing with like what's an acceptable amount of time to be looking people in the eyes, and I genuinely just try to like listen. But I I just do find myself looking down a lot too. I don't know. I don't have to look into it too much right now. Definitely also can relate to the Rat in the Maze poem, and trying to figure out how much to let go and how much to like give myself the grace to like just let it out and let other people think about it too. And so I don't know.
I like Alan Watts once in conversation with Ram Dass said, Ram Dass, your problem is you're attached to non-attachment. You're always trying to let everything go. Yeah, maybe I get there. There's a thing that you said, give myself the grace to be human. I liked that because it reminded me of grace, like what grace is, like grace is kind of like forgiveness, but it's like pre-forgiveness. It's like before I even build the resentment about you doing something to wrong me, I'm just going to give grace to allow you to be you and allow me to be me. And that's it. Krishna Das said, and I think he may have been quoting his teacher named Karoli Baba, but maybe not. But I'm not sure, but he said, it's all grace. We just have to pretend that it's not. It took me a while to grab that one. I was like, what do you mean we have to pretend that it's not? But I think what he's saying is to get through our days playing these roles and doing these things according to the rules of how long is it appropriate to look at someone before I look at all those things, those rules, we have to pretend that it's not grace, that these are my struggles. But it's all grace. And, I was just finding myself hiding into my books this morning, constantly looking, give me something to look down into. And I got rid of my social media, so I'm not using my phone anymore. So I just replaced my phone with a book, and it makes you look smarter, really. But no, I wasn't calling you out, but maybe I was. Maybe we, And now my morning poem is coming back to me, and how maybe it makes sense. The morning poem was saying we are bound up in ribbons. I just kept repeating that phrase throughout it. We are bound up in ribbons, and I just was thinking about how there is no you and there is no me. There's just this like large we, and we're just these expressions of it, and it's all grace, and we just have to pretend it's not. And that's our ribbons. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that wants to be spoken this morning?
I think that's just it for me.
Yeah, right on. I appreciate you sharing that, Michael. And it did bring me out of my spiral. Okay. Well, I think that we will close this practice today, closing it with a lot of gratitude and already in a shifted place. That's the thing, is the moment that we bring our awareness to it, it's already changing. And the awareness is part of that. The awareness practice, it is not self-consciousness. It's not embarrassment or fear or like, am I doing this right? The awareness is simply to breathe into the body and feel what you're feeling without judgment of the feeling. It's just a feeling. So feel it. The thought form that comes, that follows that's the story. And we attach our feelings to stories to justify having them, but we don't need to justify being human. We just need to give ourselves the grace to do it, right? Like you said, just give yourself the grace to feel that feeling, like, oh, look at that. That's a feeling. I don't step out in the morning and I go, I'm only going to smell certain smells that come in on the breeze. If I could do that, I certainly would not be smelling the linden trees or whatever it is that has a particular smell in the morning when the sun hits it. And anybody who has ever watched Mitchell and Webb will know what that particular smell is. But yeah, we don't get to filter out everything, and the more we try, the less we get to really be. So I'm just full of gratitude for the shifting nature of my being today and all the ways that I get to be in the moment. I hope that you all can find that in your day today as well. So thanks again to Tim Siebels for the poem out of the September 2023 edition of Poetry Magazine. You can access all of these on their website, poetry.org. It's a great organization. With that, adios.